Alright, good day. So continuing with the January 2020 paper, we are number 33 in the section with measurement, perimeter, area, volume, and speed. And this is one with conversion of units. So it have different variations of this question. I put two of the main variations there. I want to change 2500 millimeters to meters. So you have to know the conversion yourself. So the conversion is 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters, 1 meter is 100 centimeters, and 1 centimeter is 10 millimeters. But because 1 centimeter is 10 millimeters, 100 centimeters is also 1,000 meters, which is 1,000 millimeters, which is 1 meter. And that's the conversion we're using, millimeters to meters. So it's a factor of 1,000. So I'm going to divide millimeters by 1,000. I'm going to end up with 2.5. Same idea with the 3,800 millimeters to meters, and they have one of the only ones they have with kilograms to tons, because again all this counts as measurements. So how much kilograms are there in 1 ton? A ton is 1,000 kilograms, just in case this question comes and for future reference. So now moving on to the biggest section of this measurement, and this section is area takes up the largest chunk of the questions, as you'll notice as we go through them. So this is the one from the January 2020 paper, number 35, in a rectangular garden plot. So they don't tell me it's a rectangle. So again, they'll give you those little hints along the way what your diagram's supposed to look like. 15 meters long and 12 meters wide. So that's my rectangular garden plot. And they say in this rectangular garden plot, 80 square meters is used for a vegetable garden. So 80 square meters of this plot used for a vegetable garden. What area of the plot is not used for a vegetable garden? So let me find out the area of the plot first, because out of the entire plot they're going to use 80 for the vegetable garden. So the area of the entire plot, length by breadth, that's one of the basic formulas they're not going to give you. So 15 by 12, and when you work that out, 180 square meters is the entire plot, and they're saying out of this entire plot I'm going to use 80 square meters for vegetables. So that means what not being used for vegetables, that's this part here. 180 take away the 80, because the entire area have to add up to 180 take away 80, so 100 square meters will be used for something other than vegetable gardening. Had an asterisk here because they have different variations of this question. Same 15 by 12, but they asking something else. It was fruit and vegetables, and can't remember the exact question, but they have a variation in this, so look out for that. So we jump into number 38 on the paper, which is the last one for perimeter, area, and volume before we move on to stats. And it's also an area question. So a square has the same area as a rectangle with sides of length 9 by 16. So the area of this rectangle, again, length by breadth 9 by 16, 144 when you multiply that out and work it out. So they said the square, so this is the rectangle and the square have the same area. They want the sides of the square, so that means the area of the square, which is side by side, supposed to total 144 square centimeters as well. So side squared is 144, and I want one of the sides of the square. And this is where a table come in handy, because you don't have your calculator. Square root of 144, 12 from your tables, 12 12s, and 144. So those are some of the questions from the paper, but I want to look at some others. And again, the formula sheet going to come into play here for some of these formulas. So this one, which is one of the more popular shapes, it seems to come pretty often, is the trapezium, and they have the formula for the trapezium here. Again, you have to know how to use the formula for the area of the trapezium. So in a trapezium, just to sketch it quick, we have two parallel sides. Sometimes they'll put the arrows, sometimes they won't. That means the sides parallel and will never meet. We'll see stuff like that when we're doing some of the rules for trigonometry and geometry. So the two parallel sides, we're just calling them A and B, and the distance between them we call H, and that's where the pieces of the formula are going to come out from. The formula is a half the two parallel sides times the distance between them. So that's the formula that they give you in the formula sheets. Again, when the letters close to the numbers here, it means multiply. I put in a multiply in my formula, but it understood that it means multiply there, I understood that mean multiply there as well. So in this one, the two parallel sides, this is my a and b, however you want to write it. So that's 8 plus 12, half of that, so 8 plus 12 is 20, half of 20 is 10. 10 times the distance between them. The distance between them must be a straight line. We never use any slant line for the area formula. That will be more for perimeter. So the distance between them is 3, so 10 by 3, 30 centimeters. And like I said, they have several different variations with the trapezium. This is one of the other variations that they have, and we might see one more later on. Which of the following figures not drawn to scale, meaning you can measure it and get the answer, has an area equal to half 5 plus 4 times 2. So once I know the formula, which they've given me, a half a plus b times h, a and b must be the two parallel sides. So I'm looking for one of the answers must have here as 5 and here as 4, right? And you can see all of them except this one have that. So that one automatically out. 2 must be the height, so this line here must be the height. This thing give my height. This is the only one with the height being 2, and the two parallel lines a and b, so my answer going to be D. And these are just some other questions that's good to see how area really works. So the length of one side of a square is 5 centimeters, and since they already tell me it's a square, that means all around this going to be 5, just because they said it's a square. And the height of this triangle is 4 centimeters. What's the total area? So the total area, this is not a shape that I recognize, but I could break it up into two shapes that I do recognize. So the top shape is a triangle, the bottom shape is a square. They said it's a square. That's how I could say all the sides around is 5. So to get the total area of the shape, I have to find the area of the triangle and the area of the square. And because they join, I could just add them up. So the area of the triangle, again, that formula on the formula sheets. A half base by height or base by height over 2. Both of these formulas mean the same thing, whichever way you prefer see it, but this is the one that they write on the formula sheet, by the way. So it will be a half, the base, because it's a square, the base is 5, so a half times 5 times 4. 5 4 is 20, half of 20, so the top area is 10 square units. Or I could have used this formula, 5 by 4, 20, half of 20, still getting my 10. The square, they're not giving you this formula, but you should know by now a square is side by side, all the sides are the same. So 5 times 5, 25 square units. So the total area of the shape, 10 for the triangle, 25 for the square. So the area going to be 35 square centimeters. This one gives students quite a bit of difficulty, so that's why I want to go through it. It's very theoretical though, so actually not going to put sides for this. I'm just going to use what the formula of a rectangle is, just to try and explain it. So the formula of a rectangle, the area of a rectangle, is length by breadth. So in this question, length by breadth is 53.6. But what they say they're going to do to my length and my breadth, they're going to multiply the length by 4. So now this is really going to turn into 4 lengths, because I'm multiplying it by 4, and I'm going to cut the breadth in half. But the formula for area is length by breadth. But if my length increased by 4 and my breadth cut in half, the 4 and the 2 going to cancel out to give me 2. So I really getting twice the area, if you notice, because a half of 4 is 2. Still have the length by breadth, so I really have 2 length by breadth, which is twice the area. So this area really going to double, because that's what's going to happen if I multiply the length by 4 and cut the breadth in half. The overall area going to double, so a double 53.6. When I double 50 something, it's going to be 100 and something, and that's how I get in that answer there. Next one, they have several variations of this question, and sometimes that diagram really helps to see what's taking place. So they already tell me the area of the triangle is 60 square centimeters, and I know the formula for area is base by height over 2, or half base times height. So they give me the base is 12. I want to find out the height, the perpendicular height, the straight line height, to make the area 60. So it have a little algebra taking place. The base is 12, so I could put in the information that I have, because they tell me the base is 12. I don't know the height, and when I divide by 2, I'm going to get 60, and that little algebra problem I need to solve, I could cross multiply and solve it, or I could cancel out and solve it. So however I do it, again, 6h is equal to 60. So h is 60 over 6, so the height going to be 10 centimeters. And if you're not sure, you check it back. If the height is 10, 12 tens 120, and the formula is base by height, 12 by 10, 120 divided by 2, I'm going to get back to 60. They have a different variation in this question where they're using the area is 30 and the height is 10, find the base. So that's a different variation that they have in this question as well. So we didn't get to look at any because they didn't have any on the 2020 paper, but they come reasonably often. Questions involving the circle, and like I said, once it's involving the circle, they're giving you all those formulas for anything involving the circle. The cylinder has a circle, circumference of the circle, arc length, area of the sector, area of the circle. All those, once it involves the circle, you usually get it. So here we have the area AOB, and a slice of the circle is called a sector. So this is a minor sector here, AOB. And because they want the area AOB, I have to know that this is a sector. Sometimes they'll say sector if you notice, but you have to know sometimes that this is a sector. And the formula for area of the sector in my formula sheet, the area of the sector is the regular area of the circle times the angle over 360, because I'm looking at a fraction of the circle if you notice. And this telling me what fraction of the circle I'm looking at. So you realize in this question, they didn't tell me pi or r, because r is r. So that's why all the questions still have pi and r in it. So pi r squared times the only thing I could substitute is the 60 over 360, which canceling out to 1/6 pi r squared. So that's how my answer turned out to be A, 1/6 pi r squared. Similar for this one and your one. The area of the circle is 20 square centimeters. So they already tell me the area is 20 square centimeters. I want the area of this minor sector, which is a fraction of the circle, and since they say minor sector, we're going to use this formula. The thing about this is they already give me the area of the circle, which is pi r squared. So I already know that this part here is going to be 20 times the angle, which is 60 over 360. So the only one that looking like that is A, because it's 60 over 360, theta over 360 times the area of the circle, which you already give me. So this is a different variation. The area of the circle, just like the one we saw with the cylinder, they give me the diameter. So I need to get the radius, because the formula uses radius. The radius is going to be 3. The formula is pi r squared, 3 squared 9 pi, because again, they didn't tell you what pi is going to be. So these are just some more technical ones I want to go through. Technically, this one fell under area, I think. It was under perimeter area and volume in one of the years. It's a trapezium with height h, because sometimes the questions would mix and use area, trigonometry. You'll see the questions overlap, but most of them would have algebra in it. So in the trapezium, we already know the formula for the trapezium is a half a plus b times h. That's for the area of the trapezium. So this up here is my a, this here is my b, and the straight line distance between them, because these two lines were stand, that already labeled h. They tell me the area of the trapezium though is x squared, so that means x squared will be a half. I'm going to add a and b, which is x minus 4 plus 2 times h. X minus 4 plus 2 would be a half. X minus 4 plus 2 will be x minus 2 times h. And a half h could be written as h over 2 times x minus 2. So that's how x squared is equal to x minus 2 times half of h will be h over 2. If this one comes again. Last one again, I just want to look at just to show you one with capacity, milliliters and liters. So in this one, 50 guests, as the host of our party, 50 guests had 2 shots of tequila. No, sorry, 2 glasses of champagne. It's a fancy party, right? So 50 guests, and each of them had 2 glasses of whatever we're drinking. So in total, everybody had 100 glasses is what I cater for. And each glass could hold 150 ml. So how much liters I use? 100 by 150, that's 15,000 milliliters. But the conversion between milliliters and liters, 1 liter is 1,000 milliliters. So I divide by 1,000 to see how much milliliters in a liter. So I use 15 bottles champagne.